welcome. This is the Sharing Wheel Podcast, episode number 6. And today we have a special guest, Jonathan Rand of Goat Hill. Mm-hmm. Hey, what's going on, brother?
Not doing with you. Good to see you, Sean.
And Jonathan is a poet, musician, or is it, what comes first, musician, poet, or poet, musician?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't think either come first now, but I was a writer before I was a musician in my life. I think they're all kind of, it's all kind of one thing now. Hey, you got a book. There's one of them, yeah.
I have copy number 23.
Yeah, that's cool.
Jonathan's poems.
Poems from the train.
Cool. You wrote them on the train?
Most of them, yeah. Commuting, yeah.
And going to Mass Art?
Yeah, going in and out of Boston.
Nice.
Just one season of poems.
Yeah. Very cool. I usually get rid of my books.
Yeah.
You know, they come and then I'll give them to someone else who might like them, but this one stays.
Oh, thank you, man. It's fun seeing it.
And not to sound like a broken record, but I really love your songwriting.
Thank you, Sean.
And I got a little something for you.
Oh, word. This guy is like looking.
This is a broken record.
Yeah. Doesn't want to sound like a broken record, but is that Johnny Cash?
That's Johnny Cash.
Oh my God.
Now I didn't wash it.
I
didn't want to ruin the patina of it.
Did you put more dirt on it?
It might have. It's been in the garage for a while, but I found it on in the back of the YMCA.
It's trash find, yeah.
It's been run over many times.
That old time religion.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh,
I appreciate that.
You're quite welcome. And this is the sharing wheel, so I like to get the sharing vibe going.
Word.
So, I don't know. Something tells me you're a baseball fan, or I have recollection of I don't know.
Oh, I grew up watching sports with my dad.
Yeah.
Jason Varitek. Look at this. Where did this come from, this beauty?
Found on Central Street.
Central Street.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So it is even connected to the old school, like the Beverly.
Yeah.
Varitek, man.
Yeah.
It was fun watching this guy play. My favorite thing, though, is to listen to baseball on the radio. I get that from my dad, too, just having it on the background.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Thank you.
When you're writing songs, Jonathan, I was wondering, there's a what do they call it? Rick Rubin had a term like entering the creative realm. What's your sort of gateway into the creative realm in terms of writing a song? And with some people, it's driving in a car, and listening to the radio.
Yeah, I'd say there are a couple of different entry points into songwriting for me. Some of it is really just kind of ether. Like for me, instead of driving, it's walking. I do a lot of walking, especially after work, whether it's walking to North Station or whatever. And I think something about the rhythmic nature of walking will start to get my mind thinking in both kind of melodic ideas and lyrical ideas, and then I'll start to build as I walk, if I'm giving myself the space to have that. But if I throw the headphones on or listen to a podcast or an album, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But a lot starts there with walking. Some starts with just kind of it starts on the page with poetry, and it's wanting to get those words into something. So it's really kind of it changes of what is the inspiration.
So do you feel when inspiration comes, how does it sort of feel? Is it like a pressure, you know what I mean?
I do.
Something, I'm feeling something.
Yeah, to me, it's more of when I feel it, it's almost kind of I don't know, it's like a smolder or almost like a manic, there's an energy to it when it seems to catch.
Yeah.
And I can see that it has something, maybe has legs.
Yeah.
As opposed to maybe, I can't even count how many songs or ideas have come out of my fingers and then gotten lost because I didn't write them down or they didn't stick.
Yeah.
So there's that too of what there's a whole creative process that I have that is just is really impermanent, because it's not even like they don't become songs necessarily, and they don't become a product that I can share. They are literally in the moment pieces. And so there's a lot of that stuff happening too, of like what is going to capture my attention and why. I think a lot about like songwriting and why, and there's a lot of things that I do that I definitely cannot explain as well, of why why I like really magically, if I have a melodic idea that just comes into my head, especially if I'm not playing an instrument, I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
It just comes.
Yeah.
And then like it's like I can chase it or not, and and it's interesting to think about why. And I'll also admit, like, I don't have a studio practice, so like if nothing's coming, then I'm not working.
Yeah.
So it comes or it doesn't.
Right. So you don't have like a regimen where you sit down, or even a ritual in a sense.
Yeah, which, you know, knowing so many artists and makers, like that studio practice is really one of the more important things, but I have yet to really be able to lean into like doing it when I don't want to do it. So I try at least to be intentional that if it's coming, to ride it, to try to catch that wave.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. I was listening to an interview with David Gilmour, and his wife writes his material, and I don't have her name at hand, but she also walks, and that's how her writing process.
The foot beat is real.
Yeah, interesting. Now, like, because Neil Young, his last album, all started from whistling while walking in the woods.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And then he'd go back to the studio and run with it.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're going to play for us after our interview, and I know you have a song, 50-Foot Wave, and I know you spend time out in Baker's Island. Was that a Baker's Island inspired song?
Yeah.
Or
That one wasn't.
sure.
That one wasn't. That song is from probably 2003 or 2004. It was when there was a massive tidal wave in the Pacific that just like
The day after Christmas.
wiped stuff out. And I remember like doing a lot of research and even watching some videos of that, and like the waves coming in like on security footage. So that's where the idea of like 50-foot tall ocean waves, or like the kind of which. So those pieces come from there. But again, I couldn't tell you why that melody and why the other words connected to it, right? Part of it is that where it's like, oh, I have this idea of this 50-foot tall ocean wave that I want to talk about. And then 15 years later, there's a song that has many other ideas that have been added to it, and really isn't so much just about the thing that inspired the song anymore. It becomes a different thing.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, where you could write a song and have it be about something, and then someone else listens to it and interprets it in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Like it could be completely different. You know, so that's
Absolutely.
Interesting. And I think so. Like songs are never really stable in a sense, right? Like they have a fluidity to them even after they're written.
Yeah,
Where
for
they're
me.
like, a book, like a novel or something like that. I think of the library. And all the books on the shelf.
Yeah.
And to me, they're like alive, and like the library is alive. You know.
I like that.
Because you have like, you know, you'd be all of a sudden, you know, like a book finds you.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah, and I like the ideas in those that are creating an energy in life too, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess maybe in a sense, maybe the song finds you the way a book finds you, or possibly.
Yeah, I'm open to the idea that there is something larger than me happening that I am just involved with.
Yeah,
and I have to be open to and kind of add my voice or be inspired by, but that I try not to be too self-centered and think it's all coming from me. I think there's like a musical tradition. There's something about music
Yes.
you know, and playing it, whether it's for yourself or sharing it in community, that is ancient. And I think that we grasp that as people, like it's before us. There's something that's before us that I think we're tapping into for sure. There's some magic involved.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. The creative realm, and yeah, Dylan talks about, like, I don't know where these songs come from. I just,
You hear the guys who say they feel like they're plugging into something.
Yeah.
Like when they're playing, they're like plugging into this like
Yeah.
large
Right,
universal
right.
jam session,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
just
exactly.
like,
Yeah, and everyone has access to that, right? So, they just gotta allow themselves to do that.
yeah, absolutely.
No, it is. There's no better feeling, hey, than when you're personally, like, not that I'm a songwriter, I do write poetry, but when the idea does come, or the impulse, or the download, or whatever it is, and you're in the creative state, that's just the magic place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It is magic, and I would say like a lot of magic. There's also, as you know, as someone who writes a lot and is way down in there, it's that also can be really painful.
Yeah.
Not so fun.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because if you're really kind of like passionate about it and want it to work, and you're like kind of struggling and not able to do something that you want to do, but you can can feel there's some kind of turn, a phrase or a hook, but I can't get there, that can be kind of difficult in that creative process.
Yeah.
Or if we're improvising, like when we're playing live, and we do a lot of stuff that is really just exploring kind of ideas, and it's very simple and very jammy, and not so much like guitar hero solos, but how we kind of weave in and out of each other when we play that. Then that creative process is a real-time thing too, but then you get caught up with like, oh, are there people here? Do they like it? Do they like me? The ego gets in there, and that can be hard too.
And it can take you out of that space.
Oh yeah, real quick.
Right.
I'm just looking at the one guy who's like pouting over at the end of the bar.
Why is he not enjoying himself?
Yeah, because he doesn't think I'm like a really good songwriter. That dude probably hasn't even heard a single thing I said.
Yeah, exactly. He's thinking about something else.
He's definitely not thinking about tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah, it's the dynamics of it are amazing. And and something else Rick Rubin had mentioned. I've been reading his book. I think it's called The Creative Act. It's really, really good. And he says, like, if you're not genuine when writing a song, you're essentially wearing a mask, or or it's a projection. It's not of you in a sense,
Yeah.
So you have to be like, and you do this already. You're already there. Like,
Thank you.
It's very genuine. It's very, like, it's very you. But it's just that's where you need to go, I think, in order to make something.
Yeah, I think you can if I like to think about the stages of the process in which there is this creative state, and that's really personal, and where you're trying to generate those original kind of ideas or tonal centers. And then there's the working on it phase, right, where you have to kind of like woodshed it, and like how do you kind of start to edit the thing so it becomes and go with the flow. And then there's the teaching part. For me, like playing in a band, you gotta get people up on top of the changes, and it's something that's it's in my fingers by now, but like now you have to wait and see. And much like you are talking about when people interpret ideas differently, well, everyone I play with or teach my songs to interprets them differently too. And so then as soon as they're playing, it becomes something different. And then that starts to build. And then the final part to me is either like recording it, right? Doing that kind of or performing it. And you get into that sharing part, like that outside of the performers. And it's so like that there's pieces of like that authenticity that dips up in and in through all of that stuff. And so you wonder, like, bringing your authentic self, I think you could feel it in the music when you hear it on the other side. But also, I think that people respond to things really positively that are really inauthentic. Like I mean, whether it's like just like top 40 or dance hooks or things that really bring people joy, or if they're suffering and they can just like listen to that sad song. And it like, you know, there's no like shortage of like sappy songs that I like can like lean into. And I bet like they were probably at this point, they're probably being written by robots, right? That just know the form and then, but then the person who hears it might actually still have an authentic experience. So I think authenticity is kind of like, it's a little slippery. I think, thank you for your words. I do really try to be authentic, and especially with my lyrics and singing. I'm going through this right now of like having the beginning of what I really like as a song and ideas are building, but I don't like the first line at all, and it doesn't really seem authentic. And it's like, oh yeah, I saw this thing when I was leaving my house and I tried to capture it. It inspired the rest of this like dope thing that I'm gonna build, but this first line sucks. So it's like then I'm like kind of trying to do that authentic thing to be like, how do I authentically really talk about the idea?
And,
there we go. Thumb drive. Yeah, that's 2024, Sean, right there. That's how we.
And how do people get a hold of your music, John?
Right now, we don't have like anything to sell, but we've got a website. Like we're at Tilt-A-Whirl Music on Instagram and tiltawhirlmusic.com on the World Wide Webs. So you can kind of see what we're doing and grab some videos or some audio files. But we haven't really been in the production mode of like getting something to purchase or share beyond that. Which was a really fun experience to record a live show and get it on something.
No, it's awesome.
I struggle with figuring out, like, even now when I do my own kind of publication, kind of much like that book that you were sharing, like I do EPs and music too, but I'm also a designer and I make a lot of stuff and I'm a photographer, and I struggle with the physical way we share music now because, you know, growing up with all, you know, with the records, even tapes, like something like the old mixtape, or like when you got that tape, like that thing that you can be involved with the image and the art and the themes and actually hand it. Like that's a lot harder to do these days. You know, at least DIY kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
You know,
I like what they're doing next door at Delphine's on Saturday nights. I know you guys have played there. But he has the album set up. You know, the phonograph. And it's still cool. Something about just flipping an album, right? Like going through and like what you want to hear, you know, and you kind of.
I like that you think someday like none of us will be here, but all the records will still be here in bins. Like all these ideas. And I think it's interesting, like kind of calling back to the authenticity piece, like and feeling something on the other side. Like I think if you're like recording, for me, I'm really interested in recording on being as analog as possible and thinking about like whether it's things coming through tubes or recording on actual tape. Versus like a lot of the digital things you hear, where at the end of the day, I don't know if you could really hear much of a difference, but I think you can feel it. And so there's something that's very interesting about like how do we get back into these like whatever the music is doing for us, like the vibrations or whatever. It's like such an old thing. Like I like to think about ways to be the creative process of like sharing it is different too, even like packaging, right? So
so if someone on your website, if someone wanted to have you do a performance or hire you, or
you can do it right through there.
You can do it. Contact.
Absolutely.
There. And you guys were played the block party that was August.
It was summertime right down there.
I think we were talking before that might have a photo of that. But that was really cool.
That was a really great gig.
Just out here, right? So you guys were just down there, and there were people like down to it seemed like the kind of cinema. You
I
know?
wonder how far that the tilt-a-whirl music was flowing down
yeah.
across Ward 2 here.
Yeah. It reminded me of, because I was talking earlier, like it's like this old school setup.
Yeah.
You know, of being on a trailer bed, And there's a story about the Grateful Dead during the Monterey Pop Festival.
Yeah.
They had one of the companies, music companies, had loaned all the gear from Monterey Pop.
What could
Festival.
go wrong?
And the Dead stole it for like a day.
Yeah.
So it's not quite theft, right?
That was right.
And temporary theft. And they brought it up to San Francisco and did a free concert on a flatbed.
Oh, that's that famous picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at you guys in the crowd, I was seeing the old, the image of that old picture of the Dead doing that.
Oh, that's a nice comp. It was a beautiful day too, and I think we've been really just loving those kind of opportunities and staging shows in that way.
Yeah.
Not kind of like bar scene as much as just like outside, and we do a lot of gigs that are weather dependent. We played like 100 degrees or it's raining and cold.
You guys really, I mean, you've done the Salem.
We've done Arts Fest, and
Fest.
Topsfield Fair is always fun.
Yeah.
Homecoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
And were you guys out in the Willows too? Did you play out
No,
there?
that's on the bucket list, man.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to play on a boat. I want to play at the Willows.
Yeah.
I want to play at Carnegie Hall.
Sure. Yeah. Play everywhere. And so that'll be a good segue into hearing some of your songs.
Playing a podcast.
So we're playing now, and this concludes the interview segment of the podcast, and we'll segue into your creativity
Awesome.
and art.
Thank you for
Poetry.
having me on.
Yeah. And also, Jonathan's a great guitarist. Just
thank
throw that
you.
in there. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Great.
As he appears with his ukulele.
I was going to play harmonica today, actually. Yeah. So. Cool, man. All right.
Heard. Cool. So we were just talking about 50-foot tall ocean waves. So we'll play that one. I'm no good at saying how I feel. I'm no good at telling what is real. Like 50-foot tall ocean waves, the likes of which need nothing in their way. When fire burns out of control, making way for new life to take hold. I've been thinking of the days ahead. I've been thinking of the words you said. Live your life, embrace love. Be brave and kind and true. Have no fear. And when your days grow I know we're gonna make it to the end. Down the road and up around the bend. But I won't forget the sunshine and how it looked in your eyes so long ago. The world is spinning so fast. Do you mind if we just take it slow? Take it slow. Gotta take it slow. Gotta take it slow. Gotta take it slow. Got to take it slow. We got to take it slow. Can we take it slow? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for helping taking it slow. Are we, you think, cutting between this, or are we just rolling with some songs? Whatever we feel? Just keep it around, burn some tape. All right, cool. I love it. I need those likes. Let's see. This song is called Turn It Up, and it's a really new song, so I wanted to play it since we've been talking about the creative space and kind of like being in there. I was mentioning of not having much of a studio practice, so when the music comes, like I try to ride that wave, and this past 6 months has been a really big wave. Talk about a tidal wave. It's been a 50-foot wave of songs and ideas, and so this is one of the first ones in the early summer, so I thought definitely keep all my fiddling around with harmonicas in. We've got everything left to say, come on and chase me through the darkened streets downtown, out to the freeway. Let's roll the windows down like it's still summer. Turn the music up, you know I love that song. I love that song, I love that song. 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 No, there is no other way. Won't you take me down the falling stairs into the subway? Let's ride the train tonight until we reach the end. The doors are closing soon. Please don't be long. No, don't be long. Don't be long. Don't be long. Don't be long, don't be long. I'm a dream away today, please don't wake me. I'm underneath the waves of feeding frenzy. Let's sail into the storm, into the shakedown. Let's sail until we find a place where we belong. We belong, yeah, we belong. We got everything left to say, come on and chase me through the darkened streets downtown, out to the freeway. Let's roll the windows down like it's still summer. Turn the music up, you know I love that song. I love that song, I love that song. Love, oh, love that song, love that song, love that song. Love. that song. Awesome. Oh, thank you. A polite applause from a small but mighty crowd. Do one more, maybe? Yeah, is that okay? But what one to do? What do you think, Sean? Is there anything that sticks in your mind?
Fire in the Sun.
Okay. Cool. This song, Fire in the Sun, I've been trying to call recently Trapdoor Heart. And I think that's like interesting. We were talking about the life of songs and how they aren't, for me, not ever really set in concrete. Someone like just mentioned who I taught this song to, they just started calling it Trapdoor Heart. They didn't even know it had another name. And then I was like, oh, that's a much cooler name for this song. So it's like being able to translate through. So Fire in the Sun now, Trapdoor Heart. A song, all lyrics written in on Rantoul Street, in a pub, and music that the idea, the who put the fire in the sun kind of idea, honestly, this sounds so cheesy and cliche. I dreamt this. I woke up from a dream with this chorus in my head. And so sometimes, that's what I mean about the magic bar, like I don't know where that comes from, but I held on to it long enough that I could actually create something. It didn't just disappear like in the ether, you know? When the bottom drop out of your trapdoor heart, fall through the darkness, and I fall apart, and pick up the pieces, then I run on home, I get lost on my way. God knows how I love to roam. Who put the fire in the sun? 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 Push and pull me, let me ride your waves. Let's get lost at sea, let's get lost for days. When the flood hit, I hope the rescue is delayed. We're underwater, everything gets swept away. Who put the fire in the sun? Who put the fire in the sun? Oh, who put the fire in the sun? Tell me who. Oh, tell me who. On the lam again, back out on the road, on the run again. Stealing signs and a breaking code. Under pressure, a spaced out, I'm all alone. Strike a match too close, watch the whole fucking thing explode. Who put the fire in the sun? 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 Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. This is awesome.